So now David is at the private school where his soon-to-be new stepsister attends school. And Maggie and Jim have a pretty fast courtship. They started dating in December. They were married in early May. So things happen pretty quick. And everything kind of seems to be okay. In fact, Maggie is kind of maybe seems too good to be true. Casey does say that there was this inner voice like telling her, stay on this girl's good side, you know. But you know, things were weird, like the we're instant besties kind of thing. Like she wasn't super comfortable with that, but everything was okay. There begin to be some red flags though, and those red flags come in the form of, like, right away, Mary Kay starts calling her new stepdad dad. And Maggie wants David to call Mary Kay his sister, not his stepsister. And she wants him to refer to her parents as his grandparents and, you know, call them Gigi and whatever the grandfather's name is. You know, so these things are a little weird. They're a little alarming, but they're nothing like too much, like right off the bat. There ends up being this incident at school one day where David sees Mary Kay and he doesn't refer to her as his sister. He calls her his stepsister. And that night, Casey gets a fairly irate text from Jim. She knows it's not Jim. She's known Jim since she was like 12. She knows how he talks. She knows how he texts. She knows this is not Jim. And a pretty upset message, you know, that he needs to refer to her as his sister, you know, blah, 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 whatever. And Casey is laughing about it. And she ends up calling Jim. And she's like, who sent that text? Like, you don't care about, you know, little stuff like this or whatever. And, you know, he says it's from him. She knows differently, but she, you know, makes a joke, like this laughing comment to him, like, you're not going to get an attorney and come after me, are you? And he was absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would never do that to David. Like, you know, rest easy. Like, I would never do anything like that. Spoiler alert, he would do something exactly like that. All in all, things seem pretty hunky-dory, and Jim and Maggie are wonderful about taking David. They're giving Casey and Liam some time just to be together, like, oh, we'll take him, you know, off your hands. They'll meet for play dates, and Maggie will say, like, oh, I'll just take him home. He can just spend the night with us, you know, give you some time. They have 2 other kids, so it's not like they need that much time, you know, by themselves. But in retrospect, she was probably doing something called establishing status quo custody, but we'll get to that later. But anyway, summer comes and goes. Things seem to be going well. David enters the 3rd grade. So the start of his 3rd grade year, he has to put together something called an all about me bag. Things from around the house that tell the story of who he is. Maggie is adamant. She is really insistent that this bag includes a photo of their new family, her and his dad and his stepsister, and is just so adamant about it that Casey is a little put off. I mean, she doesn't have a problem with him including this picture in his bag, but why is it such a big deal? So she is supposed to make this special trip to meet Maggie and pick up the picture, and she can't make it. So Maggie plants herself outside this kid's 3rd grade classroom the next day to give him this thing.